Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in.
Hello and welcome back to episode 122 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC podcast. I daren't ask how you are because I know how you are, but would you like to tell everybody?
Yeah, so this week's show is going to be a little bit different and that's out of necessity, not out of choice, unfortunately. So last week, as you well know, I hurt my back quite badly, actually. I've got a back injury. You've
got a bulged disc.
I have got a bulged disc, yes. Which I'm not going to go into all of the ins and outs of what a bulged disc means.
It's painful.
It's very painful.
I've heard it's worse than child labour.
Probably, because that looked like a breeze. So, yeah.
It was for me, to be fair.
Look, it's very painful. I cannot sit here for an hour and record this podcast. So, what we are having to do is we're having to do it in sections. So we will do a little bit, then we'll have just a break, which won't be, you don't worry, you don't have to sit there and watch while I just wander off and stretch my back and all that sort of stuff. We will edit it together so it's one complete episode. So you shouldn't see too much, but normally it would take us, we just do one shot. It's just one shot. We record for an hour. That's the episode. This is going to take a while to get through because I'm going to need regular breaks because I can't sit on this seat for an hour. I think 10-15 minutes is going to be my max.
And also you're on very, very strong painkillers, yes, which make him feel a bit drowsy. So you don't want him falling asleep halfway through a sentence.
No, you don't. The other thing is I've taken some of them this morning. I haven't taken any before we've recorded. So I am in pain now. But I just...
You could tell by your face.
Yeah, I know. It's we're just going to do a little bit at a time. I'm going to get through what I can get through, and then we'll
stop for a bit.
We'll see where we're at. So, yeah, it's just horrendous, really. Very painful. I've got to be very careful sort of over the next sort of few weeks. Sort of the really severe end of the scale is that if I'm stupid and I don't look after myself in the way that I've been told, then, it can affect me for the rest of my life, ultimately. So I've got to be very careful and
But trying to keep Ryan still or not do anything stupid is quite difficult.
Yeah,
so,
I know. But I do have to... So my legs are shaking while we're doing it, ultimately, because it's sort of trying to perch in a comfortable position. But it's like... yeah, I do have to move. I can't just be still. But, it's finding that balance of when to move and all that sort of thing. Anyway, enough about me.
About me. No, I'm joking. So on this week's show, we are going to talk about the FA Cup game, which happened yesterday against Harrogate at the Exercise Stadium.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Bizarre. We're also going to talk a bit about club news. We look ahead at our League One fixture, which is on Saturday against Mansfield. Very exciting game that's going to be, I think.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as usual, as you all know, I did really badly last week, the quiz.
I found a really, an idea flashed into my head for the quiz.
I hate your ideas.
No, but because I've had the week that I've had, and it was, the quiz takes a while to put together to find different areas. I found a way of doing the quiz this week that was so simple, and I could do it in like I did it in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll enjoy it. I think it's a good one. Anyway.
I'm intrigued.
Look, let's get on with the news. The Allyn family have become sort of like minority stakeholders in the club.
Yep.
We'll read out the sort of club statement. In a joint statement, Wrexham AFC co-chairman Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds said, Wrexham has earned the world's attention, and we are focused on bringing on board world-class partners to help with the next phase of our growth. We have been fortunate to get to know the Allyn family, and we are blown away by their intelligence, kindness and commitment. They are exactly the type of partners we will need for this amazing endeavour.
Do you know what I think when you say Allyn family?
Yeah, doctors.
No.
Oh.
The Adams family.
The Adams family.
I won't do it because it'll be copyrighted, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think when Ryan and Rob first came in, they were like joint owners, yeah? And it's like, right, they're our owners. And then a little small piece of it got sort of cut off for Necaxa, so that they own a little bit. So Rob, Ryan and the Allyn family have formed a new sort of company, and it's that company that then owns a small, little bit of Wrexham. I think the first question is, how do you feel about the club sort of getting divided up a little bit? So a little bit's gone there, a little bit's gone here, regardless of how sort of like valuable these people might be. How do you, let's just go to basics. How do you feel about having numerous different owners in whatever big, small capacity that it is? What's your thoughts on that?
As long as it doesn't take away the focus of the club and what our kind of goal is, what our remit, as Rob and Ryan have, clearly stated a few times, that they want to get us to the Premier League. As long as that focus isn't shifted, then it can only be a good thing, right?
I don't know, I look, I do see the value. They sold, I think it was Allyn Welsh, or Allyn Welch, I'm not sure how you say it. They was like a pharmaceutical sort of company. I think it was like they sold it for just over 2 billion a few years ago. They've got money. They've been doing a lot of work in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Sort of developing.
I'm glad you said that because I had no idea how to pronounce that.
Developing the sort of community there. So I understand the sort of, why someone like this has come in, because very much to help in the community focus. Yes, you're involved in the club, but, you're helping with, all the community stuff and redeveloping the local area, which they're obviously very good at, and what they've done. I think the concern for me is just having too many fingers in the pie. That's what I think.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, perhaps. And I'm not saying everyone's going to want to, you've got a board meeting where everyone's shouting at each other and everyone wants to be heard. I'm not saying that, but I don't know how I feel about having, because I doubt this is the last time this is going to happen. I dare say another little section's going to be carved off and somebody else is going to come in and invest. I do understand. I'm not naive enough to think that we can just do it with Rob and Ryan. And, the money required to move the club through the Championship and into the Premier League and to sustain yourself in the Premier League. I understand the levels of money that are required to do that. Levels of money that you don't get just from a Disney documentary, and you don't get from a couple of actors dipping in their back pocket, and you don't get necessarily from the amount of merchandise that we're selling around the world. All of that is great, and it helps the club. It's just, I do get it's not the level of funding that is required, and you do need more money coming in from other avenues. It just worries me about how many times the club is going to get divided up, and how many of these investors are we going to need to not only, I think you can get to the Premier League without necessarily, bottomless pockets of money.
Yeah.
It's the sustaining yourself in the Premier League that needs money. And, like I say, I'm not naive enough to think that, we're not going to need this investment. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm not going to lie and say, yes, it's great. It is great.
Yeah.
It is great. These are great people from what I've read. They are great people. They do great things in communities, and they do seem like the right sort of people and the right sort of fit for the club. I'm just looking ahead, and I am worried about how many times this is going to happen. And I think maybe it only takes you to get one of your investors wrong once to have a detrimental effect on what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it very much depends on who you're getting to invest. I think they have to be very, very careful about, and they have to do their due diligence.
Yeah.
That word?
Yeah.
Yeah, their research into the people to make sure. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But I think as well, like there are probably certain companies that you might not want to be investing into your club.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Sean, Ryan, Rob, and all the other people in the background have got it under control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the moment, I think it's a good thing. And like you said, they seem like a good family. And yeah, they're all about community, which is basically what Rob and Ryan are absolutely about as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, are you ready to break?
No, I'm good. Come on, we'll get a little bit more done.
Right, okay. Also the news this week, Rob and Ryan have purchased a majority stake in Wrexham Lager. That was a complete curveball for me.
It was. I wasn't sure. Because a few people said, "Oh, they've bought it."
I read that they bought it, but then I read that they got
and which I thought that's a big shock. But the fact that I like that they've invested in something like that. At the end of the day, we have to remember they're businessmen.
Yeah.
And they've seen an investment opportunity, and with their profile, they can certainly grow Wrexham Lager and spread it out, in the US and in Canada, and great thing and all that sort of thing. I tell you what I'd love though. I'd love
a Deadpool lager.
Well, yeah. That wasn't what I was going to say, but yeah, that'd be great. But I think I'd love to see Wrexham Lager back on the shirt.
A lot of people have said that, and do you know what?
Yeah, but the problem with it is the amount of money that we get from that front of shirt sponsor.
Yeah.
We've had TikTok, we've had United Airlines. Whether United Airlines stay or whether we move on to something else, you're never going to get that level of investment. And we have just been talking about how much money is needed to push the club forward. If it was possible, I'd love to see Wrexham Lager back on the front of the shirt.
It might go somewhere. Maybe the back of the shirt.
Yeah, maybe.
Who
but
knows?
I think just have it back on the front would be great, I think.
Maybe when there's like I don't know. I was going to say maybe they'll put it on for an anniversary, but they can't because obviously the sponsor that we've got paid a lot of money.
Yeah. Look, wait and see.
Yes.
Wait and see. That's exciting as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so also last week, the under-18s played a game at the Stoke High Ras, which was probably very exciting for them. They were playing in the FA Youth Cup.
Yeah.
Youth.
And
it was at the end of, full time, it was
0-0.
0-0.
Yeah.
So it went into extra time because obviously they have got rid of replays and all that palaver. So
I'm not sure they had replays in the FA Youth
Well,
Cup
anyway, it went into extra time, and Tom Kelly scored the winner.
Yeah, right at the end as well.
Right at the
death. There was 577 people at the racecourse.
That's brilliant.
Which is great. You know, it'd been great if they'd have had a lot more there. But, you know, for an FA Youth Cup game, I think that's pretty decent.
It is pretty decent.
You know, so well done to you lads.
They were. I watched a bit of like the highlights, and the lads looked like they were living their best life.
Yeah,
it must have been really exciting.
Got to do interviews after the game, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Getting ready for when they,
hit,
definitely first team.
Just a quick shout out as well. So Wrexham Food Bank, they're doing the 2024 holiday gift matching campaign. So basically, you can donate up to the value of £2,000. Everything you donate is doubled. At the moment, they're aiming for £2,000. There will be a link down in the description for you to donate to the Wrexham Food Bank if you want to. As I say, they're about halfway to their target at the moment, and every pound that's donated is doubled as well, so it's matched pound for pound. So
there's also as well, when you're doing we do this every year, don't we? When we do our big Christmas shop, we go to the supermarket and we always buy like tins and things like that, and there's always like a food bank bit in the supermarket, and we always put some stuff in there as well. So if you want to help that way, obviously that's amazing. But this is obviously another way you can help.
It is. It's one thing you should always do is always go on the food bank website and just see what they're running short of, because sometimes you might think this will be good, and they don't actually need it as such because they're overstocked on something like that. So always have a look on the website.
And they might need things that you wouldn't even think that they need.
So definitely, that's worth doing. Look, I'm getting close to needing a break. So look, if you do want to support the show, your support is massively appreciated. You can buy us a coffee. Our page is buymeacoffee.com/me the wife. Huge thank you to Marie from SoCal this week, who supported the show. That's absolutely huge for us. Thank you very much. Just a quick fantasy EFL update before we have a short break.
I don't know if I'm bored of this yet.
Oh no, I'm not. We had a message off Gareth Jackson from last week. He said, "Hi Ryan, did you forget it was a double game week for a lot of teams? You lost a fair bit of ground on the leaders. Chin up." Yeah.
Gareth, I love you. You're funny.
I did reply to it. Thanks for that message. Yeah, I did actually. I was at the Charlton game, and it was about 15 minutes before kickoff. Panicked and just set my team, so I did forget that it was a double game week. So yeah, I did lose quite a bit.
He also messaged back again and said, "Don't forget."
Yes, I know.
It's a double game week this week
for the
as
championship.
well.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
Look, just to update the standings from our fantasy EFL. First is Owen Roberts, who got in touch with his name, so thank you for that, Owen. Second is Drew, and third is Kent Gulliford at the moment.
Where are you and Christian in the old...
Don't worry about me and Christian. We'll be back better. Look, we're going to have a little break now because I'm starting to struggle. Just join us again in a few seconds and we'll talk about the Harrogate game. So let's talk about the Harrogate game. Obviously, FA Cup first round got moved to Sunday because it was going to be on the TV.
On the box.
On the box, which I think is sort of a natural thing to happen now, isn't it? That Wrexham are on the TV because they're Wrexham. It was a bit of a weird situation to be in, you know. In this instance, so for the last few seasons, we've been going to bigger clubs and we've been the sort of giant killers sort of in waiting who are going to a club looking to beat someone further up the pyramid. The game against Harrogate, it was sort of flipped, wasn't it? So we were the big dogs, as you'd sort of call it, and they were sort of lower down in League Two. You went for quite an audacious 4-0.
Oh my God, I wish I hadn't.
I know.
Wasn't even close.
I went for 3-1. And I thought I'd called it quite well because we were talking before the game. And I said, I think they'll score first.
Yeah, which they did.
I think they'll be 1-0 up at half-time.
Which they were.
And then, but the rest of it just...
Fell apart.
Yeah, fell apart a little bit. So
as soon as they scored, I was like, oh, that's me out of the of the run-in.
Look, there was a few changes from Charlton. Not wholesale changes, though, to the team.
Yep.
Which is sort of what I expected, really, because... I'd listened to Phil talking in a couple of interviews, and it sort of sounded like he wanted to have a good go at it. You know, if you change the whole starting 11, then you've sort of looking at 2 weeks where
they're not playing.
They're not playing.
Yeah.
So I expected a few changes, not loads. Ravon came in for McLean on the left. O'Connell in for Scar. Again, O'Connell in for Scar's not a huge change because he only really dropped out sort of at the Charlton game. So it's not like it's, we've got O'Connell back like he's been out for ages, because he hasn't. Cannon was back in the starting lineup. Elliot Lee dropped to the bench. Mm-hmm. All quite, you're sort of looking, going, okay, you know, a couple of changes. I'm happy with that. Feel like we could have a good go. I think I was worried about the game because... so we were in the same league as Harrogate last season.
Yep.
We didn't beat them once. So we drew 0-0 at home. We drew 2-2 away.
Arthur came away with a broken nose.
Broken jaw.
Oh, was it? Oh, God, yeah, of course it was.
Yeah, last time we played there. So I was a little bit worried that, you know, when we played them in League Two, we weren't able to find a way to break them down. So I knew it wasn't going to be an easy game. But I just sort of felt we'd progressed, you know, since the last time we'd played, and you know, we'd be a better team. And to be fair, I think in that first 15 minutes, we were the better team. You know, we were pushing. I think, you know, Mullin had sort of 3 or 4 chances. I think sort of not clear-cut chances. Ollie had a header early on, which was, you know, he didn't really do very much with. Ball lofted in, he headed it towards goal. It was on target, but it was never troubling the keeper. A couple of minutes after that, maybe just a minute, Mullin had a shot, well saved by the keeper.
Yeah.
Like I say, over the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, he must have had 3, 4, maybe 5 sort of half chances. Yeah. That, you know, and it sort of felt that it was building.
It was coming to something.
Yes, I don't think it's wrong to say we were probably completely in control for that first 20 minutes. I think it was all us, you know, but the trouble with dominating a game in that way, the problem is when you don't score. Because the longer you don't score for, when you're in control, I think it gives the other team a bit of heart. They go, right, you know, it was
cotton on to what we're doing.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. And I think, you know, they sort of grow in confidence a little bit, going, well, they've had 20 minutes having a go, and they haven't managed to break us down. The game plan, I think, was very much, we're going to defend and you're not going to get past us, which I thought they did pretty well, to be fair to them. I think where we fell down is, you know, we were winning a lot of the first balls, but the second balls, we weren't really picking them up at all. And yeah, it was, I don't know. I think we got to sort of 20, I think it was 24 minutes in, they had a corner, ball come in, the guy managed to wriggle free, header, Arthur didn't move, 1-0. And I think it was at that point, even though it was sort of what I expected them to absorb a lot of the pressure from us early on. And I sort of said to you, didn't I, that I think they'll score first.
Yep, you called it.
But when they did, I had this sort of sinking feeling, really, that after that first 20 minutes where we'd struggled to break them down, I was worried that that was how it was going to go for the rest of the game, really. But I don't know. What did you sort of think of the overall performance? We'll break it down a little bit more as we go through, but overall, what did you think?
I thought they were okay, but if I have to put my hand on my heart, I think Harrogate were the better team, and definitely in the second half. Well, to be fair, no, we did dominate a little bit in the second half, but I think overall, like you said, the second balls were getting passed, and they were literally going to Harrogate players every time.
Yeah, I know.
And then at one point, second ball went to I don't know who it was from and to. Probably Barnett, because he's always getting the second ball and to assist. And then a Harrogate player just came in, took the ball, started running, and it was like our players were like, do, 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 do.
Yeah.
And then they went, oh, crap. And then they started to run, and you thought, I'm surprised at that point they didn't score again.
Yeah, it was weird. It did feel a bit disjointed.
Yeah.
A little bit. We hadn't made loads of changes. Like I said, it wasn't as if, we brought players in who weren't playing. It was Andy Cannon who come back in, who's played most of the games this season. Owen O'Connell, same thing. He's played most of the games this season. All right, Ollie Rathbone coming in. That was, he hasn't played a lot. But I don't feel there was all of these changes that would have disjointed the team in the way that it did. Some of the passing seemed a little bit off. And coming up to half time, I heard a lot of people sort of saying, we need to make some changes. But I was sort of struggling to see
what difference it would make.
Yeah, but what changes we could make
that would make
that would make that difference, because I felt like we were probably doing all the right things,
but
we just weren't doing them very well.
Yeah.
So I was sort of struggling to see who was gonna sort of, I don't know who was going to come in
and make that
make that difference in that team.
Maybe Stephen Fletcher would have come and made an impact.
I don't know really, because it just I don't know. I really struggled with the game today to see where anything, and I've made this comment loads of times that we probably could have played for another 90 minutes and not scored. I think it sort of felt like that a little bit. That it didn't matter how long, it just wasn't our day.
I think in the last 10 minutes, you sort of, you were like just hoping and praying that something would come from the, the passes and stuff like that. But it just, I don't know. It was a bit, like you said, it felt very disjointed today and, on Sunday. I don't know what day it is. I just think I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. I've been quite vocal and I don't really go in for these cup games and trophy games and all that jazz. I'd rather focus on the league, which turns out that is what we're going to be doing from now on.
But let me. It's just the mantra of the loser, that though, isn't it?
No, it's not. I've said that even before we played the game. I've said it in loads of podcasts, in loads of our episodes. I'm not a big fan, but obviously, I know how important the FA Cup and these trophy games are. Maybe not so much like the Bristol Street Motors and all that jazz, but the FA Cup. What do they say? It's the magic of the FA Cup. So, we watched a couple of games. We watched. Who did we watch? Who was that game that we watched? The semi-professional team, Tamworth, versus Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Now that's the sort of thing that makes the FA Cup magic.
And then we had Kettering beating Northampton as well.
And now Harrogate have obviously beaten Wrexham. So it's it's not great that we're obviously,
I do go back to your point before, though, where you sort of said, we can concentrate on the league. That is, I hate that though, because it is like I said, it's the mantra of the loser. That is, but it is the mantra of the loser, isn't it? It's going, it's all right, don't worry about that because we can concentrate on what's important.
No, I said I was disappointed that we've come out literally in the first round.
Yeah.
And obviously Birmingham beat Sutton 1-0, and on Sunday as well, so you just kind of know that they're all gonna do you know what I mean? It's kind of that annoys me a little bit, thinking that we could have done what could we have done better?
Win.
Yes, exactly. But I don't know. It just didn't seem like they were coming together. I mean, I had high hopes for Bodvarsson.
Yes.
I was very.
Well, but talking about him, because we had a couple of chances early in the second half. We had that 3-on-1 where we played it out. I think it was Barnett running through the middle. He had Ravon to the left. He had Dobson to the right, and he played it to Dobson. Yeah, he played it out to Dobson, which I'm not sure was the right ball. If you want someone to have a shot, do you want Ravon to have a shot, or do you want Dobson to have a shot?
Who never wants to shoot towards the goal.
So I felt like that could have gone the other way. But like you rightly say, we made a triple change.
Yeah.
Daddy comes on.
Daddy cool.
Yeah, he is.
He is pretty cool, isn't he?
He is cool.
He is. Daddy. That's going to be his nickname, Daddy Cool.
Yeah, and he had a couple of chances as well. Probably our best chance, I think. It sort of fell to him. He just sort of hit it straight at the keeper a little bit later on. Yeah. Barnett had a chance. He sort of got in behind and he blazed it over. But
literally all our attempts in this game literally just went over the bar. I don't think any of them were low balls. They were all...
Bodvarsson's wasn't it? The keeper saved it really well. But it sort of felt like it was straight at him a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mullin had a few over the bar. Barnett had one over the bar. I think Cannon hit one over the bar as well. Yeah, so I don't know really. It's one of them. Look, we're out. We're out. That's the long and short of it.
Until next year.
We really, in that last 20 minutes, we started to turn the screw.
It's not good enough though, is it?
No, we did though. We sort of penned them back in, and do you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember playing? Who was the one with all the fog last year? Was that Forest Green? Where the commentators just talked about the fog for like 80 minutes of the game. And
I can't remember, but I do remember that game very well.
Yeah, I think it was that one. And we just pummeled them, and it just didn't feel like anything was going to happen. It had that sort of feel to it that we were just, and we had the ball in the back of the net at one point. Obviously the ball come in, Foul put it in. You did a little scream.
You were upstairs doing something, weren't you?
No, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't venture too far
No, you
away.
can't, to be fair.
So I was there, and then obviously that was giving us offside straight away. So then it was sort of like...
Foul's face, though, bless him.
I know, I was gutted for him.
He was on, obviously, he kicked it in.
It was a header, by the way.
Was it?
Yes.
All right, well, he was on the floor.
Yes.
Anyway, all right, it looked like it, whatever. Anyway, it went in, and he literally was getting up, and he had this big smile on his face, and then looked over to the linesman, and he had his flag up, and it was like...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I felt really sorry for him.
I think we know how you feel. The fact that we're out of the FA Cup, you're sort of like, look, the league is the more important thing.
I'm not saying I'm not disappointed.
I know you're not. Now, I'm disappointed as well. And I feel like of all the cup competitions, I feel the FA Cup complements the league nicely. For me, it's the most important one. It's the biggest amount of prize money that's on offer in any of the cup competitions. So that always helps, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course it does.
Even though we're rich, but a little bit of prize money here and there doesn't hurt. It's nice to play bigger teams, as we've known against Sheffield United. And when we played Coventry, I thought maybe this might be our year to get to the third round and draw a Premier League team this time. I thought, our time had come for that, because we've sort of missed out on that the last couple of years. Look, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be.
Sera.
Yeah.
Whatever will be, will be.
We're going to Wembley. Oh, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. So look, I am disappointed, and I do enjoy a nice cup run, and the opportunity to, you're watching the draw and seeing who are we going to get, and all that sort of stuff, and all that, So I am really disappointed.
We won't be watching the draw. Well, when this comes out, the draw was yesterday.
But we're recording
Before
after the game, but before the draw. So we were umming and ahhing before the game. We were like, well, if we do go through, are we going to wait and record after the draw so we can talk about the draw? As it turns out, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So look, yeah, I am really disappointed. Look, there is one thing to address from the game. George Dobson picked up a yellow card.
Yes.
Somebody messaged us and asked this
Bryn
question.
Hughes Rees, I think his name was. Let me just. Yes, Bryn Rees Hughes.
Okay.
I'll read what he said.
Okay.
This was during the game, I think. Dobson's yellow card, a league issue too? ? Or don't have to worry about non-league games ? And weirdly, you had already decided that you were going to talk about that.
I did. I'd already made the note that I was going to talk about it because I knew a few people would have this question. Obviously, George Dobson was on 4 yellow cards. So 5 means a 1-game ban up until game week 17 or something like that. I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, so he just needed 1 more yellow and he was going to get a 1-game ban. He got a yellow card in the FA Cup, so I thought I would address it. Yellow cards in a competition are specific to that competition. So, for example, he was on 4. He picked up 1 today, but that doesn't make it 5. So he gets a 1-game ban. That makes it 4 and 1. So the yellow card is specific to the FA Cup. So if we did get through to the second round and George picked up a yellow card in the second round of the FA Cup, he would be suspended for 1 game in the third round of the FA Cup. So the yellow cards you get in the FA Cup are just for the FA Cup. So he is still on 4 yellow cards for the league. He doesn't have a 1-game suspension. So
Doesn't need to worry about any yellow cards in the FA Cup because we're out.
Yes. So so yellow cards are specific to the competition you are playing.
What happens in a game, in a competition, stays in the competition.
That's a good analogy. That is exactly it. Yeah. So when we go back to league action against Mansfield, which we'll talk about in a little bit, he is available. He's still on 4 yellow cards.
Needs to be careful in the Mansfield game.
He still needs to be careful. Hopefully, he can get through to when it resets. And yeah.
Yeah, I personally can't see that, to be honest.
No, I can't either. But there we go. I think I'm getting to my limit where we might need another little break. But yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on how they feel about going out of the cup. Because Siân is disappointed, but I know she's not really that bothered. I do. I know you're not. Me, I am quite bothered because I do really like the FA Cup and I like being involved in the FA Cup.
Does it make me less of a Wrexham fan if I'm not?
No, it's horses for courses, really. It's one of them. I think I've got more history with the FA Cup perhaps than you have. Although you have had some pretty decent FA Cup games. You've had the Sheffield United, you've had the Coventry, you've done all right in the short time that you've been following the club. Whereas me, I've obviously had the Arsenal game, which I was at in the early 90s. I think
that's the biggest one, isn't it?
It is, and I was there, and I can say I was at that game with my dad, and it's a big thing for me. I've had the Middlesbrough game, I've had the West Ham, so I've had some big, against top flight Premier League or opposition. I've been to them games and I know how exciting they can be when you pull off a performance. So maybe it's just my history with the competition as opposed to yours. You've had some big, good games that you've been to in the FA Cup, but maybe not as historic as the games that I've been to, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah, so maybe that's
Coventry and Sheffield United, they're no Arsenal, are they? Well, actually, Arsenal aren't playing that great at the moment, are they? Although they did play well at the weekend.
No, they didn't. They lost. Anyway, what are we talking about Arsenal for? Anyway, look, I am pretty much spent, so I need another little break. So we're going to break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about, we're going to read out one of your emails. We're going to talk about the Mansfield game that's coming up on the weekend. And Siân's also going to have a crack at the quiz. So, yeah, hang on for that one. Right, okay, final stretch of the show. Look, if you're still with us, if you've stuck with us, I'm not sure how entertaining I've been this week. I'm not going to lump you in with that. I'm sure you've been a hoot, as usual. But yeah, thank you very much for sticking with us this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, a better back next week.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Otherwise, you won't be going to the game.
No, that's a worry. I'm sure I can get there. I'm sure I can. Yeah, we'll
cross that bridge.
We will cross that bridge when we come to it. Look, we had an email this week from Leonardo Bernard, I think his name is. So yeah, if you'd like to read that out.
I certainly will. Hi Ryan and Siân. I hope I spelled your name correctly. Apologies if not. No, you did. Thank you very much. I just finished watching the latest episode of your podcast on YouTube. It was another enjoyable episode. As usual, Siân, I'm one of the people who gave man of the match to Palmer. It was the first time I gave it to him this season for all the reasons Ryan mentioned, so I won't rehash it, LOL. I've been following your podcast and YouTube lives for a while now, so I guess it's time to introduce myself. I'm an Indonesian Australian who lives in Wollongong. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Wollongong.
so. Yeah.
A coastal city an hour south of Sydney. I've always enjoyed football but never had a team to support before Wrexham. I watched 2 seasons of the documentary in April and started following the team while waiting for the 3rd. I searched the game highlights on YouTube from the past 2 seasons, and that's when I stumbled on your podcast. I started matching each game highlight with your podcast, and that was how I kept up with the past 2 seasons. So yeah, that means I've watched every single one of your podcasts from May this year. Oh, bless you. I followed a lot of Wrexham podcasts, but yours is the only one I've made an effort to go back and listen to from the beginning. I'm familiar with the game's rules, but not with the EFL beyond the Premier League. So I enjoyed hearing Ryan's years of knowledge and input.
Years of knowledge, hear that?
But I also enjoyed Siân's fresh perspective and her keeping Ryan humble.
Haha.
So tired. What? So thank you. I've missed a complete sentence out there. So thank you for making the effort to record the podcast every week, even when you are dog tired, and for doing the live streams after the games, even when you didn't know where you were walking to. You make the experience of watching the game by myself in forsaken hours in Australia less lonely. And then put P.S. I plan to visit Wrexham, visit the UK and Wrexham in December, and I'm hoping to catch a few games. I'm looking at Burton Albion away, Cambridge home, and Bristol away. So I would gratefully appreciate any advice on the best ways to get my hands on the tickets, especially the away games, because I don't want to sit with the opposing side. And maybe I can buy you a drink or 2 when I'm there.
Okay, Leo. It was a long email, but I like reading stuff like that out, or letting you read it out in this case, because, it's nice that people are still connecting with Wrexham. I think, even, a little bit further down the line than the people who were there at the start. All that. So I do like hearing from people. A few things to address in the email. 1, yes, Leo, you can 100% buy us a drink. Never going to turn that one down when you're over. I have replied to Leo, but I thought it was worthwhile sort of, because there's going to be a lot of people in a similar sort of boat going, ooh, how do I get tickets? Are the away tickets? Look, away tickets are obviously going to be more difficult than the home tickets. One thing I would always say is just make sure you remember, general sale, especially for away tickets, is rare to never, I would say. So the tickets go on sale for away games to season ticket holders first, then members, and then if there's any left, they go on general sale. Generally there isn't, that doesn't happen that often, or there's a very small amount. So to maximize the chance of you getting tickets, especially away games, if you're traveling over, I would suggest number 1 being a member. So hopefully you are, Leo. After that, I would recommend doing what I would call a sort of trial run.
A few people have done this actually.
So pick a game that you're not planning on going to before when you're actually planning on buying tickets. Get online on the time when they're released. Get on there. do everything, get the tickets in your basket, and just do everything apart from actually check out and purchase the tickets. Gives you a better understanding of what's needed. Another thing I said to Leo is at away games, at home games, you have to sit in the seat that's allocated to you.
Yeah.
Away games, that's really, 90% of people who go to away games stand or sit wherever they want. So don't waste time and worry about picking seats in certain sections or anything like that. Just get the tickets, get them in your basket. You will still get people at away games going, excuse me, you sat in my seat. But 95% of people, I would say, don't care.
No.
They will sit wherever. So yeah, don't stress about that. Do a trial run, all that stuff. That is my advice, I think, for getting tickets. Leo, I have replied, but as I say, I've give you sort of like a little bit of a rundown. If you do need any help, just get back in touch. So.
And if you would like to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us on X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, or you can email us at meetthewifeandwrexhamafc@gmail.com. Didn't even look at it.
Didn't even look.
Look,
let's have a quick chat about the Mansfield game.
Yeah.
That is coming up on Saturday. So it's back to league action, obviously, after the FA Cup. It's the 14th league game of the season. Saturday the 9th of November. There's a change to kick-off. Convert this wherever you are in the world, but in the UK it's a 12:30 afternoon kick-off. That has been moved because it's going to be on TV in the UK, so it's not the normal 3 o'clock kickoff. It's 2.5 hours earlier, so convert that wherever you are in the world. Mansfield play in yellow. Nickname is the Stags. The last game with them was the 2-0 win at the Racecourse on the 29th of March in League Two.
So not that long ago, really.
The 2 goals from Paul Mullin. A lot of people said that was our best performance of the season. That actually won. We at the end of last season, we did the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Awards, and we asked people to vote. That game won Game of the Season. So that was our best performance. So fingers crossed for another one of them. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
We played them 3 times last season. So we beat them, as we say, 2-0 at home. We drew 0-0 away, and we also played them in the FA Cup, where we beat them 2-1.
Weirdly, in November.
Well, yeah, it was the first round. We beat them 2-1.
So this time last
away.
year.
Yeah. They finished 3rd in League Two last season, 2 points behind us, and they were also promoted automatically. I think, it's a big game. This one, I think, to play against a team that you got promoted automatically against the season before.
Yeah,
we know them. It's not like we're coming in. A lot of the teams, when you go into a new league, you haven't played them for quite a while. We've literally played them this year. So it's I'm excited for it. But they're going really well.
Yeah.
Mansfield at the moment.
They drew with Birmingham, didn't they?
Yes, they
Which
did.
Is no mean feat, to be fair.
No, it's not. They're doing really well in the league, and I'm sort of, I wouldn't say I'm nervous about it, but they're 1 point behind us in the league. They've also got a game in hand, so they win that game in hand. They do go above us in the league. So I think on Saturday, to put that little bit of daylight between you, you beat them.
Yep.
You go 4 points clear of them. Yes, they still got a game in hand over you, but they can't catch you with that game in hand. So it's nice to start creating that little bit of distance between, especially coming off the back of 2 draws in the league against Huddersfield and against Charlton, as unlucky as Charlton was.
Yeah.
It's still 2 draws, so it'd be nice to get back to winning ways at the Racecourse. Prediction:
2-1.
2-1 Wrexham. I'm gonna go for a mirror of the not a mirror. A mirror. What would a mirror be? The same or the opposite? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm gonna go for 2-0. I'm gonna go for 2-0 Wrexham. I've got a good feeling about the game. I felt like we you know, they didn't beat us last season. We played them 3 times. We beat them twice. We drew against them once. I just felt like we sort of had the measure of them last season. They're playing really well this season. You know, they're doing really well. I feel good about it.
Okay.
It's the only thing I feel good about at the moment. But, you know, I fancy it.
Okay.
If I'm completely honest. But,
Cool.
yeah, there we go.
We shall see.
Quick shout out for Dragon Chat. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. There is another one on Thursday at 7 p.m. and that is for men. The best thing to do is if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look down in the description. There's all the links and the details of how to get on them Zoom calls if that's what you want to do. The other thing to do is follow Steve Lloyd on Twitter. His account is at DragonChatWXMFC.
Quiz time.
Such a struggle, and I never say this, but I'm glad it's over. But I am this week. It's been a struggle, but I wanted to get it done. But it's quiz time. I'm excited for this one.
Okay.
Because I think this is a really good one.
Not to blow your own trumpet.
Not to blow
or
my own
anything.
trumpet, right? So, you like a good Wrexham song, don't you?
I do.
Okay.
Don't necessarily know all the words to those Wrexham songs.
You don't need to know the words.
Okay.
Okay. So, what I am about to do is I am going to tell you the name of a song
Okay.
and the artist. Yeah? What you need to do is you need to tell me the Wrexham player that has a song using the famous song and that I read out to you. Yeah?
Okay.
You get the premise?
I get the premise.
You understand what I mean?
I do, yes.
Number 1.
Okay.
Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. Which Wrexham player has a song using that song melody?
I have no idea. I've never heard that one.
You have heard this one.
Oh, Paul Mullin!
It is Paul Mullin, yeah.
It's from?
So super,
wow.
The Super Paul Mullin song is Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray
Well,
Cyrus.
I didn't know that.
That was
I was singing the song in my head and then I realised.
I'm going to be honest with you, that was the easiest one. I put that in just to get you going, up and running. Okay. Okay. She's Electric
George
by
Dobson.
Oasis.
George Dobson.
Okay. Little pause just to let everyone play along. That would be
I get
good.
overexcited when I know the answer.
Okay. 2 out of 2. Good this
Better
week.
than last week.
It is. Right. Number 3. Voulez-vous by ABBA.
James McLean.
It is James McLean. Well done. You're liking this, aren't you?
I do.
Yes. Okay. This one, perhaps a little trickier.
Okay.
Okay, and because I can't pronounce it.
Oh, great.
Okay, it's Dragostea Dinte by Ozone.
I know the song.
You know the song?
I know the
yeah?
song.
Numa Numaye, yeah?
Yeah.
You know the song. You know the song, so you're halfway there.
I can't think. Is it Andy Cannon? I don't know.
It's not. It's Ryan Barnett. Destroyed your perfect record there.
No.
Last one, okay? So this is for 4 out of 5. It's still a very successful week, I would suggest. September by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, Christ, I know the song, but I can't remember how it goes.
Sing it in your head.
Well, I can't remember how it goes, so how can I sing it in my head?
That's quite tricky then, if you can't remember how it goes.
I'm gonna have to go Andy Cannon.
It is Andy Cannon, yes. Well done. 4 out of 5. Decent week. I enjoyed that one though.
That's good. Can you do more of those?
Not really, because I sort of literally did every player that has a song.
You know my favourite song? You haven't done
Yeah.
the Elliot Lee one.
That's not a famous song,
No,
though.
it's not, is it?
No. Ollie Palmer's another one. He has his song. They
It's
don't
not just Ollie.
No,
Ollie.
no, they don't really sing it anymore. But he used to have Belinda Carlisle.
Heaven.
Ollie Palmer is the best on earth,
yeah.
didn't he?
That was rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song that I like when we go away, Town Away.
Yeah,
I can't even remember it now.
I like it.
What is that? Is that a famous song?
Yeah, that's the way. I like it. I don't know what that song is, but yeah. I don't think. I see. Ideally, what I wanted to do is play you the songs,
But we're not
but
allowed.
we're not allowed to do that because of copyright.
We
and
couldn't
all
get
that
in
sort of-
touch with Noel
No,
or Earth, Wind and Fire
No.
or whoever else you said. Disty, Dragonista.
Ozone they were called. Yeah. So
Yeah.
look, thank you very much for joining us this week. Hopefully you've had as much fun as we have this week.
Yeah.
No, look, look forward to the game on Saturday, yeah, look.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Look after yourselves. I will do the best.
Look after yourselves and each other. Who says that?
I don't know.
Jeremy Kyle, I think.
Was it? I think a lot of people watching this.
Jeremy Kyle, who's that?
Yeah, Google him.
Google him.
Yeah, no, look, thanks very much for joining us this week, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.